over there playing peanuts.
From owning a sandwich shop,
Our sandwiches taste better, they feel better, they're priced better. But don't take my word for it. Ask some of our happy customers. And if you still don't believe me, go to Subway. But we know where that can lead.
to producing rap albums,
When I was in 6th grade, that was when I first started to rap, and my rap name was Cracker Jack.
Joe DeRosa is unlike any other comedian in the game. And yesterday, we had a chance to talk with Joe about releasing his new album right before hitting the road for his biggest comedy tour yet.
I'd say most people watching this interview know you mainly from the comedy world, but you also had a brand new music album come out last week called Artificial Birth. How long has that been in the work, and how often are you working on music in general?
So the band is called Salsa Windfall, and it's me and my buddy Paul Chell, and we started doing this back when I was still in college. We recorded our first songs on a 4-track. We never necessarily stopped recording, but we eventually did stop playing out, and we stopped releasing stuff in any way because we just he became a chef, and I started doing comedy. And as your lives go on, we lived in different cities. I moved to New York. He moved to New Orleans, and it was just kind of hard to find a way to have any footing with it, but it was something we liked to do. And every year or other year when we would get together, we would still record stuff. And what ended up happening was we had recorded a whole record, this Artificial Birth album years ago. I was living in LA, and we recorded it in LA in my apartment. And then we had our friend James Pinkstone master it and mix it for us. And it sounded really good. We were really proud of it, but we were just like, what are we going to do with it? Like, who are we going to put it out to? So we didn't do anything with it. We've been sitting on it for about 8 years. And then It all kind of resurfaced on my podcast, Taste Buds. And then the fans started commenting and writing and asking about the band. And that snowball just kind of kept going. And I said to Paul, hey, I actually think we could put the album out finally. And we did. And here we are. Just came out last week. It charted on iTunes. I can't believe it. It's like wild. Everything that kind of dropped last week and it is happening now this week and moving forward with the band. It was stuff that was all just kind of ruminating for a very long time. And now it's finally here. And we're going to keep doing stuff.
The band name is Salsa Windfall, like you've mentioned already. I don't know if you saw the clip of this last Hey Babe episode with Chris and Sal, where they're listening to the song you put out and they're trying to figure out what the name Salsa Windfall even means. I think someone said it sounds like a burrito buffet in Orlando.
Yeah. The name of his band is Salsa Windfall?
Did he ever explain that? Wait, hold on a second. Stop this.
That literally sounds like a name. That sounds like a burrito place in Orlando.
Yeah.
Does the name actually mean anything, or how did you and Paul come up with that?
Paul came up with it. We were in the apartment. I remember we were young, man, and we got a bunch of weed. Weed was a really special thing back then. It's not like now where it just falls out of every tree you walk by. Getting your hands on weed and getting to use it and smoke it was awesome and special. And we had a bunch of weed, and we had a bunch of, I don't know, beer or some kind of liquor. And he said we should record while we were there. And he was starting to get into cooking, and he was like, I'll cook. And he made this big Mexican spread one night. It was like tacos and all kinds of stuff. We were a few songs in, and I was like, what do you think we should call this? And he's like, we should call it Salsa Windfall. He was holding a jar of salsa. And I was like, okay. My vocabulary was so poor, I didn't even know what the word windfall meant.
Yeah, I was about to ask you.
I thought it was a fart joke. And then like months later, he's like, no, windfall means like a lot. I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was imagining like a waterfall of salsa.
It means like we have a windfall of, hamburgers or whatever.
Yeah.
It's a ton of hamburgers.
That's awesome that it seems like this is just so much of a passion project for you. Like you didn't even have any plans for anyone else to hear it besides you and Paul, it sounds like, but you just want to do it anyway, which I feel like is really authentic and cool. And one of the things that I feel like makes you one of the most interesting people in comedy, because you have this music side, you have the stand-up side, and then you also, on top of that, obviously own your sandwich shop in New York City. So I got to ask you this question. I feel like it's pretty obvious, but fuck, marry, kill between stand-up comedy, making music, and Joey Roses.
Well, thank you for all that. It was very nice what you just said. I mean, I'd fuck Joey Roses because it's fun being in the bar and sandwich business, but a different kind of work that I hadn't been used to in a long time. It's not the arts. It's like, no, it's a business. There's a building there and it needs to make money. So it's fun. It's fun to dip into. I love the brand and I love what we're doing, but the business part of it is not my favorite thing to live and breathe every day.
Yeah.
But I am attracted to it and I want to fuck it. I mean, I'd marry the band only because, you know, I listen to music and every day, you know, constantly, but consistently. I don't listen to stand up every day, you know.
Right.
So I guess I'd have to kill stand up, but we had a good run, 23 years. You know, whatever.
So as one of the few comedians with real legitimate musical talent, have you ever done the goddamn comedy jam? And if so, have you ever considered playing one of your own songs?
I've done it many times. I was supposed to do the very first one they ever did, and I couldn't do it. I was living in LA at the time. I was booked for it, and I got stuck out in New York. I forget why I was in New York, but I couldn't leave. And I called Josh and said, I'm sorry, I can't do that show where you want us to sing the songs or whatever. He didn't have a name for it yet. And then so I did the second one. And on the second one, I did Power of Love by Huey Lewis and the News. And then I've been a part of it ever since. I do the comedy jam all the time. But no, I would never do my own. Like if there was some like demand for it,
Right.
I would do it.
That makes sense.
Like I wouldn't be an asshole about it, but like, no, I wouldn't do it like I should do. That seems, that seems awfully indulgent. Yeah.
All right, last question here, and then I'll let you go. I've heard you mention a few times that your current tour, I've Never Promised You a Rose Garden, is one-man show ask or one-man show like. What exactly does that mean in terms of what comedy fans should expect when coming to see you out on the road?
I mean, it's a very themed show. There's a real spine to it from start to finish. You know, it's described when we were running it at the Crane Theater in New York, you know, workshopping it, and the playbill just said welcome to an hour of hopeless comedy, because the theme of the show is hopelessness. It's funny all the way through. It never gets like too serious, but like it's about hopelessness. It's about like the deterioration of the social fabric that used to kind of hold us together, and like and being under the influence of charlatans, and you know how it's all, you know, the illusions of progress and people, you know, the illusion of tolerance and the great illusion that everybody likes to pretend they're all living on these social platforms, that they're just so tolerant and they're just so progressive and they're just so this, they're so that. It's all bullshit. And the title just kind of suits it. Like I kind of call it the U trilogy. I did 3 hours now that were themed, that had the term "you" in them.
Okay.
The first was an album called "You Will Die." It had the second disc of that, so that was a double album. But the first album was just the hour set, and then the second disc was me trying to do the set in front of a bad audience and bombing and like literally fighting the audience the entire time. And these 3 hours, you know, the "you" is really the key word, because it's really pointing the finger outward. This is the problem with you people. You know, so that one certainly does it. The second one was called "You Let Me Down," and the title says it all. Like, you know, I sort of believed in all of this and it was bullshit, and it let me down. And now this third one, "I Never Promised You a Rose Garden," because it's because there's a real, as heavy as it all kind of sounds, there's a shoulder shrug to all of it. I'm not up there going, and we need to do better. I'm going, it's fucked, people, and it's not going to get any better.
Yeah.
Like, hey, nobody promised you anything better than this, so I guess here we are, you know? So that's kind of the idea of these three, and I always wanted to complete the arc, and I feel like this one does complete the arc, and then the next one maybe move on to something brighter.
And I appreciate you having a conversation with me here today. Where should people check out Artificial Birth? Is that iTunes? Is that YouTube?
Yeah, it's for sale on iTunes. Salsa Windfall, Artificial Birth. It's on sale on iTunes and Bandcamp, you know, but it's streaming on all digital platforms, Apple Music, Spotify. The single's called Mouth on My Money. The video for Mouth on My Money you can see on the No Presh channel on YouTube, which is also where you can check out Taste Buds, my podcast. We'll See You in Hell is available on the back catalog's out there somewhere, but all the new eps are on Patreon. And finally, this tour is about to start in September. Doing this new show. It's very themed. It's dark, but I swear to God, it's funny. And we're hitting Jersey, Phoenix, Toronto, Philly, Salt Lake City, a ton of places, and we're still adding dates, and you can get all of that info and the ticket links at joederosa.com.
Thank you, man. Really appreciate it.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks, buddy. I'll talk to you soon. Appreciate it.
Matt McCusker dropped his new special on YouTube last Wednesday, and comedy fans could not be more excited. Titled The Speed of Light, Matt released this hour of stand-up comedy completely unannounced. In this new age of comedy, it's almost the industry standard for guys with new specials to go on as many podcasts as they possibly can to promote. But the shaman put this thing up with basically no press. He's already well over 800,000 views.
Speaking of gay guys, I have a food allergy. I have a gluten allergy, dude. It sucks. I know, it sucks. My uncles all give me shit. They're like, you just do this gluten stuff for attention. It's like the only attention I get is you guys calling me a pussy. I don't want that.
The Speed of Light was directed by John McKeever and opens up with a hilarious scene of Matt rollerblading through the streets of Philadelphia.
Where did you go? Tennis court?
The rollerblade?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I'm not that kind of blader, bro.
Dude, rollerblading on a tennis court's the best.
True.
Smooth
It's
as
a
fuck.
very smooth surface.
Yeah.
I was doing grassy hills. It was pretty sick.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, I'm cross country. Dude, it was I'm filming a rollerblading intro for my special.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll hop on the blades, get some footage. I got on it like we started at 10 o'clock, so I showed up at 9:40 to practice. Dude, I was so bad.
Yeah,
I've rollerbladed forever.
I'm sure. Who
Dude,
has?
stopping is the hardest part.
Unless you have the brake on the heel, dude.
Nah,
Dude,
that
it
shit
takes
does not
forever.
work. That shit does not work. You gotta
just
drag
squeak
your
along.
foot.
I would just like find grass and jump into it to stop. If I was
Yeah,
going
that's
too
the best
fast-
move. Yeah.
Dude, it
That
was
was
fun.
my favorite part, is you jumping from the hill. Like,
If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check out The Speed of Light right after this video. At this point, I've only watched the first 30 minutes or so just because I'm seeing Matt McCusker live this Thursday, and I don't know how much overlap there's gonna be. But we'll probably make a video recapping comedy fans' reactions to the special later this week, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. Also, side note, if anyone watching this is friends with Matt, please tell him to check his Instagram DM so I can try to interview him while he's in Tampa. Thank you. Guest spots from last week. The Joe Rogan Experience had on Brian Callen and Patrick Bet-David. Two Bears, One Cave was Tom and Theo Vaughn. Giannis Pappas was on Are You Garbage? Giannis was also on The Boys Cast, as well as Bad Friends. Kill Tony this week was with Jim Norton. YMH talked with Sarah Tiana. Flagrant did not have a guest. We Might Be Drunk talked with Nick Griffin. Mark Norman was on Stavi's World. And Matt and Shane talked with Dan Soder and Nate Marshall.
Have you ever been to Europe? They just don't have air conditioning.
yeah.
It's just like a wet.
But it's
mist.
hot
sucks
down there
ass.
now, right?
Now
Like,
it's
isn't it
getting
hotter
hot.
than usual? Yeah, they're fucked.
Yeah. You're watching a bunch of Scottish people being like, I thought it was going to be grey and cold the entire time we lived there. And now it's just fucking hot and sweaty.
I think about that Scotland joke you have.
What?
Because there's a guy in my neighborhood that walks with his dog off his
Dude,
leash.
I've never done that joke. I stopped doing that joke after like 3 months.
Yeah, people don't like that joke.
No, they don't.
Talk about whooping a dog.
Well, when I was in Scotland, I would walk through every day to go to my shows. I'd walk through this giant park. All the dogs are off leash.
Yeah, crazy.
All the dogs are off leash. And the Scottish dude I'm smoking a joint with, I go, man, how are the dogs so well behaved here? And just matter of fact, he goes, beat the shit out of them. And we go, oh, okay.
This past weekend with Theo Vaughn had on YG. Whiskey Ginger spoke with Kevin Polak. The Blocks Podcast talked with Fortune Feemster. Anthony Bowens was a guest on Chrissy Chaos. Taste Buds battled Sore Throat versus Stuffy Nose. Alex Hooper was on The Honeydew. Whitney Cummings was on First Date. Jade Cada Prida was the guest on The Harland Highway. Being Ian with Jordan had on Cousin Cheryl and Mike Racine. And Tiger Belly had on Fluffy. As far as new stand-up specials go, they're out right now besides The Speed of Light. Jim Gaffigan's 10th special is out on Amazon Prime Video. Mark Norman's Soup to Nuts is available right now on Netflix. And there's also a new stand-up on the spot that debuted yesterday on YouTube if you're a fan of crowd work. Also, this has nothing to do with new specials, but I just wanted to mention that Kill Tony changed their YouTube profile picture and it looks so much better now in my opinion. But let me know if you guys agree. Thanks again to Joe DeRosa for coming on the show this week, and also to all the loyal subscribers who helped get him here. We just posted a new video on this channel titled Comedians vs. Hecklers, and it includes some of the craziest moments in stand-up comedy history, which you can find on the end screen right after this video. Thanks for watching.
At Joke World. That's it. At Joke World. And the world is WRLD.
That's a great YouTube channel, Joke World. Check it out.